Quick update on the science. Couldn't sleep very well last night. I discovered something. I didn't discover it. I found a piece of information that there's another pi, 3.144, repeating, and it's based on root 5. So it's slightly bigger. So there's two pi's, and there's a pi of motion, and there's a stationary pi, static pi. So the static pi is a circle, the one you know and love, 3.142. And then there's a root 5 one, which is 3.144, slightly bigger. So that that now, Euler's axis theorem makes sense. Euler says that an infinitesimal change on a fixed point on a sphere must result in a rotation, and you get an E, you get x, y, z, and you get another vector, you get a vector axis E. And that makes sense because you get the motion axis creates the static pi. So picture the I, the second moment of area in the past, and it's going to do half a rotation around the outside of the perimeter of the wave on the equator, and it will twist while it does it. So when it gets to the other side, it's done one twist, and then it does a perpendicular single pi to the center. So it does half a circumference, and then it does a radius with half of that circumference. It's a loop to the center. While it's done that, the starting position, second moment of area, has relocated because of the arrow at time to the center point, and that's done it in the opposite motion. So it's a circle back to half a circle back to the center, and so you now got this beautiful shape which describes motion, circular, rotation, angular momentum, and you just use the root 5 pi, and it's the pin code to the universe apparently. And I think, by God, he's right, because it solves Euler's axis theorem theoretically, and then you take it to Lewe and he proves it physically, practically, realistically. Because what he says is the only way that can work is that sphere must be a completely elastic membrane, and that the motion must be fluid and infinite. So that the motion I just described to you is the resultant of forces, if you like, the resultant of energy forces. It's the motion of that wave. It goes round, up, down. Let's do that right here. It goes round, up, down. That's the motion of the energy. And then that inside, that creates the wave, so that rotation, stuff in there is rotating infinitely number of times in the time that's created by that single motion in the duration of h seconds. So that the relationship of the circles now is right. That the 2 pi is never achievable in reality. 2 pi is perfection. 2 pi using the natural pi. You use the real pi, let's call it that because that matches up with my stuff. I'm going to call it the real pi, the motion one. Now you know what happened there. Light workers, physicists and people, you saw the matrix drop into my mind, and I went, okay, I'll stop there. When I get home I'll do some drawings and I'll do another video, and this will be like an introduction. My sitting in nature rambly introduction, then I'll put my glasses on and I'll get serious.